Welcome to the Leadership Corner. Today, we have some special guests. We have Gino Johnson and Ranger Johnson, and they're going to be talking to us today about Champions for Veterans, which is a great business, great organization. We'll start off with Ranger Johnson. So tell us about Champions for Veterans.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank, for having us on the call, man. People may be looking at the screen kind of funny. You see me and you see my twin down there. That's my son, Gino. You'll hear from him in just a moment. And you got two bald head dudes, me and Frank here, so we're not going to talk about that on the call. I don't know about you, Frank, but when I started going bald at the age of 28, I cried. And, I'll leave that alone for now. But look, brother, Champions for Veterans, what we do is we help vets get the benefits they deserve from the VA. My background is I did 20 years in the U.S. Army. And when I retired after 20 years, I retired in 2000. I went in at 17, retired at 37. And so when I retired, I had a jacked up back, 120 jumps out of airplanes, and the VA gave me 10% disability. Yeah, you heard it. 11 years as a Green Beret, 2 years in the Ranger Battalion, drill sergeant, infantry, all the hardcore stuff that you read about in books and you watch movies. Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. And they gave me 10% disability. And so I fought like a dog uphill, scratching, kicking, crawling, fighting, snotting, anything you can do to get to 100%.
You were in the fight.
17 years, Frank, to get to 100%. January 2017, I got there. I was so frustrated when I got there. The Bible says, be angry, but don't sin. What I tell everybody, I'm still angry at the VA. I just have never sinned against the VA. Why did it take a guy like me 17 years to get what, again, I felt I deserved? And so I simply wrote about that. And I started volunteering and helping people. Before I knew it, I had 20 people I was working with volunteering, and I helped 10 of them get to 100%. That's when this brilliant young guy right there that you're looking at, my son, saw me, and he asked me what I was doing one day, and I told him. He's like, Dad, we can make this an online course. So thanks to him, that's why he's the CEO of the company. We started teaching this online course in August of 2020, and it's blown up ever since. So I'm gonna let him take over and talk about Convos with Heroes and everything else we're doing.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Frank, for having us on here. I'm excited to share our story with your viewers. And but man, thanks to my dad for what he was doing. And we had that conversation, and we talked about that. And just in that conversation, we decided to move forward what we're doing. But give you a little bit of background about myself. I went to Ole Miss, Hotty Toddy, graduated from there in 2011 with my bachelor's and my master's, bachelor's in 2010, master's in 2011. Spent about 9 years in the accounting profession, auditing, and my last 5, I was at a Fortune 50 company here in Georgia, and worked for them for 5 years. And like my dad said, was talking to him back in spring, early summer 2020, in the middle of COVID, and just had that vision and just excited for what we've been able to do. And, with Champions for Veterans, we started that back then, and we have over 450 veterans in our program. We've talked to over 1,500, and just really just have helped so many veterans with this VA disability support. And but during that process, I'm actually a civilian, did not serve in the military. And over about a year, we talked about probably about 700 or 800 veterans. And one day I realized, it was really just a couple of months ago, that, man, we talk to veterans and they have such amazing stories to share. And I learned so much being a civilian. I said, you know what, why don't we make that into a podcast and give veterans a platform to share their stories, called Convos with Heroes. And so we started that podcast kind of segment under our Champions for Veterans podcast channel back in actually this year, starting in January of 2022. And it's been amazing. We just are talking to vets. They're sharing their stories. My dad, he's talking back and forth. I'll throw in some questions, try to understand it from a civilian perspective, and really just give vets a platform to just share the amazing things that they've been doing. And so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. Learned a lot. We've talked to, at this point, it's February, early February, and We've got 5 episodes out there, I believe, and we've probably talked about 20 vets already. So we got enough content to go out for the next few months. We're putting that out once a week on Wednesday mornings. So folks can definitely check us out on any major podcast platform, Convos with Heroes.
Okay, and I'll have that link below. Just Ranger real quick about the VAs. Well, we won't talk about the VA, but we'll talk about VA benefits, right? And one of those things being disability. I've seen and heard and know of people, vets that, the older vets, right? And I'm not calling you older because you're a great mature person, right? But the older vets, right? They were not educated on the VA disability system. Right. It's great that you're bringing awareness to it, because there are some guys that are really physically disabled without having the title of being physically disabled, right? Via temporary or permanent, and the awareness that needs to be brought to it, especially by your organization. And other organizations as well is doing a great job, and I appreciate your service to continue to provide service to make sure that some of the older veterans and people that are just getting out really do get what they deserve, because there's been a lot of hard work put in by veterans in the past that have caused them some discomfort in their life moving forward. So,
Frank, it's amazing you said that. And I do want to share a story about it because, guys, and I'm speaking to all the vets and people that have been around vets out there that listen to, Frank's podcast on this. One of the reasons we got started doing this was just my volunteer work. I said I volunteered for 3 years, and it was amazing because a story is we had a couple named Pam and John. And I got to tell this because it's an older vet, right? So I do motivational speaking. That's one of the things that I do. And I've done that for over 20 years, speaking in schools and writing and publishing books. And I was just finished speaking at a school, and I went to that school district headquarters getting some paperwork together. While I was at the school district headquarters, a lady saw my Ranger hat that I wear and started a conversation. It was Miss Pam. And in the midst of her helping me get some paperwork together about my motivational speaking, she said, my husband's a Vietnam vet and he needs help. Do you know anybody that can help him? Now, you got to understand at that particular time, I'd only helped 2 people get their VA benefits. It's not like I was a quote professional now with a website and everything we got going now, YouTube channel. I was just a guy helping people at my church or in the community. And I looked in Miss Pam's eyes, and they live local here in South Louisiana by me. And I said, Miss Pam, give your husband, Mr. John, my business card and have him call me. I'll come by your house and help you. He called me. We set up an appointment. I went by their house in October that year. It was October 2018. Went by their home. When I walked in their home, Frank, in a FedEx pouch on the kitchen table were his VA records for 46 years. After Vietnam, 5 inches thick, pressed down. I've never seen someone with that much information from doctors saying you jacked up and at 10%. The man was getting $130 a month from the VA. Went to their home October, November, December. We helped them for 90 days. And when they got to 100%, we both cried. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Miss Pam was able to leave her job and be there with Mr. John. So these are the true stories. And we can go on and on and on. What I tell people all the time, when you understand the value of getting these VA benefits, and I don't have anybody tell me it ain't about the money. Don't tell me that. It is. because that money can bring your wife home. That money can help you get in a better house. That money can help your kids go to college. That money can help you not be on welfare. So I'm not the veteran you tell it ain't about the money. I'm not. It is. Tell the truth, though. Frank, you realize we lie as veterans?
Yes.
We said we're good. I'm good. If I were you, and I know you, Frank, because see, you're one of the baddest dudes on the planet. A Navy chief, retired. All right.
Yes, Rangers share the role also, right? You're the next baddest. We'll leave it at that.
There you go. See, I guarantee Frank Brown would never say, you know, if he didn't understand, hey, I'm doing great. You would never say I'm doing bad. And that's what stops us from getting our benefits, because we keep that mantra. And when we go to the doctor, we don't say, man, I'm hurting. I'm not feeling good today.
Yes. My thing with that and what I used to tell people also was, hey, we're used to sucking it up, right? You know, you go through your physical training, you take your 6 months test, you may be hurting, aching, but you're trying to get to the finish line. So you go through some of those pains and aches to get to that finish line, which is retirement, the end of your reenlistment, whatever it may be, right? Get that bonus, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, some of those aches and pains have built up, right? It at some point will start affecting some abilities that you had before you came in. You have to paint the picture of what that past was, your past abilities, and connect it to what your present abilities are, and paint a great picture of what that differential is, right? What is the difference?
Right.
And if you do a good job of that, and if you don't have the knowledge how to, you reach out to yourself or someone else, and they'll help you paint that picture.
Yeah. And you know, and our website is championsforveterans.com. I know you'll put that in down there, championsforveterans.com. If a vet hears this, they can go there. They can, my son will probably send you a link. They can just click on a calendar link, and they can schedule time to meet one of our veteran counselors. And the big thing is this, man, you know, we want to help people, because we understand. I always like to tell vets, we're the last one to try to help ourselves. I mean, we're going to help our church. We're going to help our community. We're going to help our family. But majority of vets I deal with, they put themselves on the back burner. You know, your knee is about to fall off. It's kind of like, you know, and I love doing this because I know you, Frank. We've had a great conversation before. And I always like to ask vets when I'm talking to them, I said, if you would go after your VA benefits like you did all of your certifications and schools and everything you did in the military, you would get your VA benefits. But we don't. We go a little bit, and then we say, oh, the VA ticked me off. I ain't going back over there. I
got to resubmit the paperwork again.
Right.
No, just resubmit additional paperwork.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey, so Gino, with the Convos with Heroes and your dad being the veteran, you're kind of in an inner circle, right? You kind of came into an inner circle of military people. What were some of the great things and stories that you've heard from your Convos with Heroes? Some of the things that affected you?
Wow, man, that's a great question. You know, I would say a lot of the things that we talk about on Convos with Heroes are, you know, veterans, of course, will share stories of when they were in the service and things that they learned and went through. And I've gathered a lot of just leadership insights and information that is so powerful. And, you know, of course, having those conversations, I'm learning, right? But I tell you, we had a conversation with a guy a few weeks back. I know that episode will probably come out here in the next month or so, who called himself Albuquerque Superman. And this young man, his name's Tony, he goes around and he served in I forget how he served. He came from a family of his father served as well. And but you know, after service, he moved down to Albuquerque, and he went and bought a Superman suit, and it's really just a really expensive, really nice suit that is just really high quality, like you wear it in a movie set. And he goes around, and like I think on the weekends or even sometimes on the weekdays to go to different discussions. I know one thing he mentioned was schools where kids who have been bullied, and goes and be Superman to them, and really just is somebody in their life that just wants to encourage them, make an impact, and it's all really selfless. And that's one thing that I feel like has been consistent amongst the veterans we've talked to, just his level of selflessness and I want to impact the world around me. And, it's like, which is first, the chicken or the egg? Veterans are the people that go into the service like, I want to help people, or does the military make them that way? I can't tell you, but one thing I do know is that it's just a consistent thing I see: selflessness and humility, for sure.
Yeah, because I think for myself, the military at that point in time, and everybody knows when it's time to leave, right? Some might be 4, 20, 22, 30, right? But that time fills a purpose for you. You become a part of a bunch of people that are sharing the same purpose, right? And when you leave, you kind of lose a purpose, and you're trying to find your purpose. And a portion of the military, what you're going to get out of it, and this is why I think, and I know people have said before that, hey, kids should at least do 2 things, right? You either going to go to college or go in the military, right? But you're not sitting up in this house. Well, one of the things that the military does while you're trying to find yourself, right, gives you a paycheck, right? While you're finding yourself, a skill set, while you're trying to find yourself, some friends for life while you're trying to find yourself. And the other thing is that it kind of instills the community in you, right? Service for your community, and bigger picture for the country, right? In this world, right? So I think when you leave with a lack of purpose. So you try to find that purpose to fill that void. And sometimes it translates into great community service. You're looking for something where you can provide some type of leadership or serve other people, because that's what you were used to in that time span that you were in that community, the military community. But all right, Ranger, you look like you're about to chomp at something real quick.
Oh no, man! You hit on so much stuff, brother. Because Frank, you brought up a point. When we do, I know I did 20. I know you did over 20. I did 20 in the Army. But when I got out, I always tell people, I never sit up and go, wow, I wish I could lay by a pine tree in the swamps of Savannah, Georgia in February in the Ranger Battalion, freezing again. I really miss those days of breaking ice in that swamp in the middle of the night. No, not one time in my life have I want to go back to not eating and being miserable in Ranger school. Okay, soaking wet for 2 or 3 days. No, what you miss is a community, the fellowship, the guys, the camaraderie, that community. And, that took me a couple of years to figure out. If you were interviewing my wife, she would probably say I was a basket case when I got out of the Army, because I thought I was going to just get out one day. I used to see these guys, Frank, I don't know why so-and-so is struggling. You know what? That's not going to happen to me. I'm going to retire, get that uniform off the next day. The next week, I'm going to be rolling. I lied. I had a big ceremony on that Friday. Whole family came up to it. That Monday, I didn't know even what clothes to wear Monday, because I worn a uniform for 20 years. And that took me a couple of years to figure out purpose. And thank God that I started, volunteering in schools and teaching and doing prison ministry and things of that nature, because it gave me purpose. It gave me a reason to get up. And now, even with my son, and I tell him the same thing, I'm blessed to do this because we get a chance to talk to people like Frank Bryant every day, American heroes all over this country, and hear your story. And I enjoy this, man. You know, I enjoy it because again, it gives me purpose. And that's a challenge for us veterans that are retiring or getting out. So you don't try to spend that time in a bottle drinking and you know getting
Right.
caught up in all kind of other crazy stuff like we know many veterans have, that you find purpose.
Yeah. And vice versa. This new venture for myself gives me an opportunity to talk to great people because I believe deeply I'm a social person. I like talking to people.
Right.
I'm not a introvert to the point where I don't like going outside. And, you know, even through COVID and everything, I struggled a little bit with that because it was like, man, I mean, you're like, shut off. It was like, it's just, you know, churches were closing, businesses began going remote. You know, the kids are stuck in the house, and it's like, it's not right. It's not the way it's supposed to be. Not challenging the way it was handled, but just the social aspects of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we need to be around other people, or at least I do from time to
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's move into the business part of it, right? So did you use any VA resources for your business?
No, not for this particular. You know, I got a couple different businesses. You know, so let me just say, for one of them, I did. For I have a business. You know, champions within Kingdom Builders of RangerJohnson.com motivational speaking. That particular business, I went through Voc Rehab, ended up getting my college degree, and I was able to utilize some different things from Voc Rehab to get equipment, sound system, things of that. So that one
Yeah.
is 100% yes. But for you know champion builders, you know champions for veterans, that's a no.
Okay.
That's something that my son and I just got together on, and I'm gonna let him take the business side on how he moved that forward because he handled 99.9% of the business side on that. Go ahead, son.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, we didn't, like my dad said, did not use any VA resources, completely self-funded.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Now, so you two, father, son, right? How do you work together? Right? Because, you know, one of the issues with family sometimes is that you're so close until you don't really express yourself fully, which long term could be an effect of, you know, you just kind of, I'm out of here, right? Because you kind of build up to, you know, I'm tired of this, but you never really express yourself fully throughout. Um, and that's what they talk about with like husband and wife too, right? Working together, etc. So how is your relationship as far as working together? And does it sometimes spill over into your actual personal relationship?
Well, let me answer that one. That's a great question. When we first got started, you know, it was a little challenging, no doubt about it, because you know my son, yeah, we don't live together. You know, I live in Louisiana, my son lives in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So that's the good part. We don't live together. You know, it's not like he's in my house, I'm in his house. So I think, you know, I had a rule at my house: when you graduate, you can't live with me as a grown person. That's my rule, nobody else's. So I taught my kids, while you're in college, okay, I'm gonna work with you at the house, but once you get a degree, you out of here. Grown folk can't live with me. That's my own personal rule. All right. Everybody
Okay.
handle it like they do with their kids. So that's the first thing. So I taught them to be independent. You know? So then when you get two independent thinking people trying to come together, there's gonna be some issues, you know, on different things. We had to work out, you know, we got it worked out. Because what I tell people all the time is, you know, my son, and I'm not saying it, I tell him he's brilliant. I mean, the man's got a, you know, master's degree. From the time I remember when he was fourth grade, he could balance my checkbook. He's a mathematical genius. And you know, and so, you know, not too many young guys I know, definitely African American young men that work for the major corporation like him as an accountant and running their account. So he is brilliant. He's a brilliant business mind. And we would not be where we are, you know, without that. So that's important to know right there. And so, yeah, we work together, we work things out. The great thing about it, I have my lane, he has his. My lane is teaching the course and understanding material for the course because I'm a veteran. So being able to know what to teach, how to put that together, that's 100% on me.
Okay, briefly tell us what the course is.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my son jump in and talk about that because
Okay.
that's the business side of
All
the
right.
course.
Yeah.
Okay, Gino, so what's the course?
Yeah. So the course is all about basically giving vets start to finish, A to Z. What do you do in the VA disability process, right? How do you apply? How do you put together statements? How do you have those conversations on your CMP exam? Where do you go to apply? Just the details that are really important in that process. But that the course is really, it's the main piece of the program. It's about 2 hours long, step-by-step guidance. But we also have weekly coaching calls on Tuesday nights, 2000 Eastern, where my dad will get on, speak, motivate. He'll talk to vets who we've been able to help or interview different people. And then he also answers questions. And then we have email support as well. If a vet reaches out, they have questions, email support them or email them and make sure they get their questions answered. And then we also have a private Facebook group, which is everybody in our program gets to be a part of that. So it's really just an overall community course, support, they get email support and all of that. And so the entire program that's what it all entails there.
Okay, now for aspiring business owners, right? Or before we even get to that, so you have Champions for Veterans. Your dad said he does some motivational speaking. Do you do anything outside of Champions for Veterans? Are you aspiring to do anything else?
I'm an investor, an entrepreneur, but Champions for Veterans is definitely number one. What I've seen is that, and what I've learned, even though I may have a lot of great ideas and things that I want to touch on, the value really comes when you focus on one thing. And that's really what leads to just real growth. When you say, you know what, I'm going to focus on this one thing and come up with creative ways to grow it. And so I've been really intentional about, I'll kind of dip my hand in little other things on the side, but 95% of my time is spent Champions for Veterans. And anything else I try to do as passively as possible.
Great concept. Perfect the one thing that you do before you move to anything else. And I'm pretty sure that all the veterans that are listening appreciate that as well, because they understand that, okay, they're going to be getting undivided attention from yourself and Ranger. So great things. What advice would any one of you have, as business owners, to anyone that wants to start a business, any veteran that wants to start a business?
Go ahead, son, you can jump on that one.
Yeah, I would, for one, I guess, give a little bit more background on my story. Like I said, I left my job in the middle of the pandemic, and we didn't make a dime, right? And I saw that there was a need, and I had a passion for starting something that was going to help people. And I had a lot of trust in my ability to be creative, to figure out, hey, whatever happens, we're going to get it figured out. And I had faith in knowing that God was going to really carry us forward. I would say, one of the first things I had to do was really just think through, what are my fears? Starting a business, jumping out on my own, of course, with my dad, and so that really helped out a lot. But what's the worst thing that could happen? And really kind of conquer that. And when I sat down and thought through that and processed through, okay, if this happens, then what would I do? If that happens, what would I do? It helped me to kind of get more grounded. And I'm a big reader as well. At that time, I was actually reading the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and really solid book talking about just really doing what I did, starting a company, trying to create automation and something that, can sustain without me being in it. So I would say, conquer your fears, understand what could keep you from making the decision before you make that decision, and what the worst thing that could happen during that process. Really understand that part of you, and then just trust and believe, have passion for what you're going to do, and decide to be creative, and have somebody else there that you can partner with. You know, I know there's that big statistics that, I don't know, some big 90% or whatever of small businesses, new businesses fail. But I think one thing that does separate those businesses from the ones that succeed are having a partner, somebody that you can work with that helps you out with that. And so I think just having a partnership, having a network and community that you can connect with that can inspire you to move forward is huge as well.
Yeah, thank you. Fair, yeah, that's definitely a killer, right? That's also, reading the article, that's also one of the things that stops employees from moving into leadership roles. They're afraid. And one of the fair is, especially if you're a business owner, and with yourself, with your podcast and speaking to other people, is that you're in the public of opinion, right? So you have to put yourself out there sometimes, and people are afraid. That goes right back to the fear, right? Of being out there, because when you disappear, the perception is that you failed. So you can't be afraid. Failure is a part of life, right? And you just hope to learn from your failures and get back in the game and improve upon what you learned from the failures.
And I would even say to that, Frank, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. You know, as an entrepreneur, look at, you know, you succeed, you win, or you learn, right? There's no failure. There's, hey, I went through something, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but I learned from that, you know. And I tell you, I mean, this hadn't been perfect, although we, thank God, we've been able to sustain and grow up to this point. There have been some decisions I look back and make like, oh man, I wish I maybe didn't do that. Or what I learned from that was, okay, don't do that anymore. So I know that now, you know, or do something different, or maybe, but of course you don't want to put too much risk out there as well and put yourself in a position where I make this decision, it could be the failure at the end of my company or not. All right. So you gotta definitely do some risk management as well. But yeah, just keep learning, be a learner, be curious, for sure.
I got to jump in here, Frank, because, you know, part of that, I let my son take off on that part about starting a business. But let me be a father for a minute, right? So you gotta understand, when my son said, Dad, we could start a company, he was working for a major company making over 6 figures. I'm retired. I don't have to work anymore, no matter what this company does. Okay, I'm retired, vet, got my retirement coming in. I got breathing money coming in, as I like to call it. It's gonna come in every month, guaranteed. I don't have to work again. So when my son said he was gonna leave his, I got to go back to my country roots, his good job. You know how my mama and grandmama said, that boy got that good job over there. Yeah, that's what mama said. The boy got that good job. He was talking about leaving his good job. And he was looking at his dad and saying, Dad, I'm gonna resign from being a CPA at a major company. He may not have had fear, but I'm gonna tell you, I had a lot. Because what I had was, oh my God, my son is leaving his job to do this with me. And the only voice I could hear, Frank, was my mama. Boy, you had my mama talking to me. Boy, you had him do what? You had Gino leave his good job and do this crazy thing with you with veteran benefit? Now that's just dumb. You shouldn't have never done that. See, I heard my mama's voice in my head. So he didn't have that kind of fear. But I'm just going to tell you, as daddy, I had a lot. Not that we couldn't do it, because, you know, understand, I was already helping vets get their VA benefits. I knew how to do it. I was successful, but helping vets volunteering and starting a business where it had to provide income for him to live and sustain and grow, that's not the same thing. Okay, right. There's a lot of other parts. So I want to be very, very clear. He may not have had a lot of fear, but I was shaking in my boots.
Yeah, understood. Your job is to protect, right? I know you said at a certain age, they're on their own, but you're still a father. Your job is to protect, and you're like, man, right. If I fail, he fails, right? So
Right.
I appreciate that, Fair, and thanks for sharing with that. Man, it's been great, right? Just taking down the trip and some of the military experiences and thoughts and mindsets on this journey and this conversation. And also just to see, and I really looking from the outside, right? I'm watching you too. And, you know, Ranger, you have a dominant personality, a very boisterous one. And Gino is kind of laid back, collective, you know, he's like kind of pulling the strings in the background. Yeah, you know, I know what I do it well. And, you know, he's the voice, and I'm good with that. Right. So that seems like a pretty good dynamics between you two. And you're doing great things. You're having great success. So that stills my heart just to see family working together, a veteran working and continuing to fulfill his purpose after the military. But so in the link below, we'll have your Champions for Veterans link. We'll put that below, and then we'll also have your Convos for Heroes below. You mentioned that I was on your podcast as well, Combos with Heroes. That should be out sometime soon. And I just thank you for the collaboration. Some of the things that I took away from it was finding your purpose, right? Where it really doesn't seem like work. It's you're walking in your purpose. I know Gino talked about the fear and everything with starting a business. I would even sum it all up in like one quotation, right? Have a leap of faith, right? Mm-hmm. Believe in yourself and believe in your success, and the rest will fall into place sometimes. And if you have those bumps in the road, those little hiccups that we call failures, just don't be afraid of it. Have no fail with it and just learn from it. I think is what you were saying, Gino.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, hey, once again, thank you for being on board. Thank you, everyone, for viewing. We'll have their links below. I also do leadership training. I'll have that link below also. And once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.